Members of the Bicameral Conference Committee today started resolving contending provisions of the Senate and House versions of the proposed 2015 national budget. Among the provisions resolved was the definition of savings. More from Freddie Abando.
The meeting of the House and Senate panels to resolve their approved versions of the proposed 2015 national budget of 2.606 trillion pesos was in full view of media to ensure transparency and accountability. The House panel was led by House Appropriations Committee Chairman Isidro Ungab, Senate Finance Committee Chairman Francis Escudero headed the Senate contingent.
The NEP changes was first on the proposed errata submitted by DBM, total of 13 billion, of which the House only approved something like 4.7 billion. And total adjustments made by the House was about 2 billion. Yung ibang movements are just the itemization of the grassroots participatory budgeting. So in other words, the total adjustment of the House is very small.
The House is correct using their formula of counting, but insofar as the Senate is concerned, that's why we have the bigger amount, and you can't compare it because it's not apples to apples. We're using a different formula in the computation. Tama sila na ganun kaliit lang yung dinagdag nila, pero tama din kami na ganun kalaki yung sa amin dahil kinumpute namin lahat. Baka sabihin kasi may tinatago kami. So, the Senate amendments is 68 billion, you're correct. But 53.9 of that is done in the unprogrammed fund. Yung ginilaw lang talaga namin, ni-realign, nilipat, binago sa budget in our proposed amendments in Bicam is only 14.4 billion.
The first major item tackled was the definition of savings to comply with the Supreme Court's unconstitutional ruling on the utilization of savings for the disbursement acceleration program. Contending positions were resolved. The House version allowed the use of savings before the end of the year. The Senate approved the limited use of savings. One of the conditions for the declaration of savings is the discontinuance of projects by a government agency to be realigned for a new program or to augment an existing undertaking.
There are more similarities than conflicting provisions in our versions. So I think we will be coming up with a very good compromise.
I am both optimistic and confident that the proposed definition of savings, use of savings, and augmentation will be adopted by the bicameral conference body, given that it has passed through the metal of the respective staff who know a lot more than we do.
Both panels are expected to review cuts, realignments, and augmentations proposed by several government agencies. Initially, the Department of Social Welfare and Development's budget for CCT's monitoring was reduced by 2.4 billion pesos. DOST's digitation program was cut by 2.6 billion pesos. 53 billion pesos allocated for the MRT's buyout was shelved from the unprogrammed funds.
For various reasons. Number one, not a single peso will be spent for MRT improvement. Why spend 53.9 billion on something that won't improve the plight of the riding public insofar as MRT 3 is concerned? Number two, even if you buy it out, it won't improve the service anyway. It will only go to the pocket of one agency to another, namely Land Bank and DBP. Number three, it won't avoid lawsuits anyway because they're not paying a single peso to the real owners of MRT 3. They're simply buying the bonds issued when the MRT 3 was securitized.
Several departments are lucky to be granted additional funds. The government's feeding program was provided with a 1 billion peso fund to hit a total of 2.4 billion. Expect increases in the final version for education, public works, and even agriculture. In the meantime, Escudero and Ungab maintained the proposed budget is pork-free. All programs and projects listed by legislators were proposed before the enactment of the budget.
Legislator legislates, executive implements. Whatever intervention made by the legislator during budget preparation, and that is before the budget approval, is not considered pork barrel. Let us not forget that the senators and the congressmen are also leaders. A lot of problems that we meet in the field, we need to suggest to the DPWH, to the Department of Agriculture. Grassroots intervention din yung sa amin.
Kung ano man ang pagbabagong gawin namin, tatawagin pork eh. But you have to understand too, congressmen represent districts. Paano kung sa distrito ni Congressman Ungab may kailangan ng isang school building? Kasalanan ba, krimen ba, pagkukulang ba na pagdating niya sa Kongreso? Isigaw niya sa budget hearing, kailangan ng isang school building dito sa barangay na to. That's exactly his job. If he doesn't do it, he would be doing a disservice to his constituents.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.